Lee, I have to confess something before we start.
Okay, go ahead.
I own a red light mask.
Of course.
Actually, I do. And so does my wife. My wife uses it more than I do. And sometimes I'll come in and find her with the Voltron kind of crazy look on her face and get shocked. But yeah, I own one also.
My wife has one. She started using it, and she used it for a little while, and I haven't seen it on her in a while.
Yeah, don't judge me. Look, masks, panels, beds, helmets, recovery lounges. There's a red light cap for your hair now too.
Yeah.
A protocol for testosterone, anti-aging, pain, brain claims. It's on everything. And I have a wellness center. Some of this stuff are just things that I try, right? And some of them stick with me. I wound up trying hyperbaric oxygen. And I loved it so much, and it has such intense effects that I've incorporated it into my facial plastics practice, into my wellness center, and myself. I do it quite often. I do it 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, a lot of people have actually incorporated into facial plastics. I know a lot of people that do
absolutely
do external or quote unquote open rhinoplasty use it routinely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has great. My point is, some of these things, I try as a matter of course because I need to know whether they work or not on me. And some of them wind up sticking with me. The red light mask is one of those things that my wife actually brought to me and started using. And so I started using it. I don't use it as much as she does, but, I have it. I figured we'd kick off the episode with me admitting it a little bit.
Right. So the thing is, the second that a gadget claims to fix half the human body, that's kind of our cue to slow down and ask actually what's being treated. Is there evidence for it? And, what are people being sold?
And look, this isn't a scam or science episode. There's real research here. There's real clinical uses, right? I mean...
Look, there's also a big difference between whatever was used for the tightly controlled study that determined that there was efficacy and what you bought off of Instagram at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so today we find out where the light actually does something, right?
Ah, I see what you did there. And we'll also figure out where it's just glowing. Got me?
Right.
I'm Dr. Lee Mandel.
I'm Dr. Ben Salento, and this is Vital Discourse.
So before we grade any of this, tell me what red light is actually doing to a cell on the cellular level, right? Because from where I sit, it looks like you're shining a flashlight on your arm.
Well, that's fair. You're shining a light. The real name is photobiomodulation, kind of a mouthful, PBM. So red or near infrared, non-ionizing, which is important. It's not UV. It's not a tanning bed with a nicer logo, right?
So, well, that's a good thing. So at least I'm not going to get a sunburn from it, right?
Right. Think of it as knocking on a door inside the cell, right? The mitochondria, your little energy plants inside all your cells. The light knocks and something in there answers.
So the red light, it hits me, and then what happens?
So that part's real. The mitochondria respond. Then wavelength, dose, distance, how long you sit there, all of it changes what happens behind that door once you've knocked on it, inside the mitochondria.
Yeah, but knocking on the door isn't the same as the door doing something useful for me, is it?
Right. No, fair enough. So that's the whole fight in one sentence, right? The mechanism is legit. The jump from this pokes a cell to this fixes your skin, your joints, your bones, hairline. That's where the ad team took over from the scientists, right? So that's where things get a little murky.
So then grade this for me. Okay, I want you to be honest about this. Where does the light therapy actually hold up?
Okay, start with the one that nobody really expects, right? Oncology.
Oncology?
Yeah. So I know you didn't expect me to go there. So we went right into big tech. So the big supportive cancer care guidelines, MASCC and ISOO, give red light a full recommendation to prevent oral mucositis. Those are brutal mouth ulcers patients get from head and neck radiation, and we see this all the time in head and neck cancer.
So now we're talking about a cancer ward, not a spa.
Not a spa. And it's not a soft might help either, right? A Cochrane review, which we talked about in other episodes. We use Cochrane all the time because they seem to be a bit definitive. The Cochrane review of 32 trials found that it was the only thing that actually cut the rate of severe ulcers.
Let me guess. That's not the version on the influencers page, is it?
No. Unfortunately, nobody's selling a mask by opening the radiation oncology, right? So, but that's where the evidence is the strongest. So it's important to talk about.
Okay, so what else earns its spot?
Hair loss. And this one surprised me too. So the meta-analyses of the FDA cleared laser devices show a real bump in hair density versus some sham device. One trial, the treated group gained over 10 hairs per square centimeter. And that's real. I mean, the sham group under 4, right? 6 months in. So there was a real bump, and it was significant.
That's crazy because I see those things advertised all the time.
I know.
Or a baseball cap that's hooked up to a light
Yeah, they
source.
got the helmet. They lift it up and it's glowing. It's kind of a Area 51 kind of thing.
Right. So those hair guys aren't really crazy, are they?
They may be crazy, but they're also correct. So the hair guys have a case, right? So, and then skin also. There's a randomized placebo-controlled trial, 2 specific wavelengths that showed measurable improvements in facial skin, well tolerated. And this is the one that my wife jumps on. Although I will tell you, it looks hilarious. It looks kind of like Iron Man. It kind of looks like Iron Man, where you can see the red shining out from under the mask. It's a little bizarre looking. And the dogs bark at her when she puts it on.
And have you noticed any difference?
I actually have, because my wife went through this period where she got adult acne, and just kind of came on in her 40s and was a real beast to get rid of. We had her on doxycycline, we had her on topicals, and nothing could really control it. But I gotta admit, the mask has changed everything.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not going to reverse aging.
So nowhere near reverse aging, right? Let's be clear about that. These are FDA cleared as an add-on for temporary relief from pain. And a review of 16 neck pain trials found real reductions, with one honest asterisk, right? The doses were all over the map. They were completely, and there was nothing you could put your finger on, right?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. We're dealing with temporary relief. This isn't permanent.
Right, temporary relief of a sore neck, yes. Melting inflammation out of your whole body, no. So again, claims from advertisers versus reality, and so you have to somehow get into the data before you start to look to sort of sift through the garbage that you find online.
Okay, so those are the areas where there's actually some literature, some studies that actually will prove that there's efficacy in using the light therapy. Tell me about the ones where we're not so sure yet.
Well, acne, like for my wife, is sort of, except that the one that she has is blue light, red light, and that actually is true. So there's usually a mixture of blue light, red light, or a combo doing the work, not red light on its own. And the trials don't agree with each other, so there's a little bit of controversy there. Exercise recovery is another one. There's a signal for soreness, but the protocols are absolute chaos, and the performance claims are pretty shaky.
It's funny, you said signal. Yeah, I've seen advertisements for the Signal patch. Have you seen those advertisements?
Yeah,
for pain? I'm really curious about it. We should kind of look into it and maybe do.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we'll do a whole episode just on that. But it's just kind of interesting to see these things and how they get on TV and social media, and
they take off. They take off these things. It's like the mouth tape, for snoring.
Right, and FDA approval versus FDA clearance and all this kind of stuff. We should definitely do something on that.
Right.
Now, how about the areas kind of like that where it's there's no real evidence kind of anywhere, but there's anecdotal reports that the
That's
white
I mean,
therapy
the
helps.
testosterone's the big one. Look, everybody's always vibing on testosterone, right? It's a big money maker. It's a big seller online. Anything that can boost your testosterone without having to give yourself a shot, people jump all over. That's the big one. There's no strong human evidence, though, that shining a light on your nuts is going to move your testosterone. All right. So, but McGill's science office basically calls it unsupported and moves on. So that one's not really there.
But if you sunbathe naked, you're getting like 2 potential positive benefits because you're increasing your vitamin D through your balls.
Yeah, one is an HOA violation, and then the other one is that you well, first of all, you also get good vitamin D, but perineal sunning is its own thing. People are going crazy over perineal sunning. Besides it being hilarious,
And gooch stretching.
right?
You got to stretch your gooch.
Yeah. Longevity is the other one. Nothing showing it extends anyone's life, right? Brain and dementia, early lab work, not close to a headline, right? Nothing really going on there. And another one is reduces inflammation, right? It gets said like inflammation is a dial that you can turn down. It isn't. So a lot of these are kind of nonsense claims.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same pattern we usually see. The more boring and specific the claim, the more likely it is to be true. The more, crazy and sensational the claim is, the less likely it is.
Yeah, and that's the entire episode, honestly. Not much more to say about it than that.
Yeah. So say a patient's standing at the checkout about to buy one of these light panels. What do they need to know?
So they need to know that the thing in the study isn't the thing on their counter, right? Wavelength, power, distance, time, how often, how deep it needs to reach, for what condition, those things matter. But for the most part, those aren't addressed in the advertisement that got you to click the buy button. So you got to watch those things.
So say I get the one that gives me the most light. Does that mean that it's necessarily a greater dose?
So yeah, this is my favorite part. It's called a biphasic dose response. And there's science behind it. Wong and Hamblin in 2009, right? Too little does nothing. The right amount helps. Too much can stop working or even push the other way. So dose matters, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like there's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so bigger panel, longer session, not necessarily what you think it's going to do. You got to hit that sweet range.
Yeah, it's not the flex that people think it is, not at all. Which is the one thing you'll never see on the box because use less of our product doesn't sell, right? So that's never something that your marketing person's going to say.
So let's ask the big question. Does red light work?
So basically it does, but what you're using it for, the dose, the type of light, the depth of penetration, all those things matter. So like a lot of things, you're going to have to read into it and figure out exactly what you're using it for. And all this research is readily available.
Yeah, so bottom line is, as most things are, it's not quite as exciting as it would seem on these advertisements.
No, but it's much more honest, right? I mean, at least you're not saying it doesn't work and it's all garbage. There's some science to it, but everything that they're claiming is not true.
Okay, so the claims, let's clear those out. I'm going to throw you the claim. You tell me what's real, what isn't real.
Yeah, go.
Okay. It's FDA approved.
Most of these are FDA cleared, not approved. There's a difference, right? Cleared just means it's close enough to something already on the market. That's all it means. It says nothing about whether the benefit on the label was ever proven. People smash these two words together constantly. And so there's just throwing around the term FDA doesn't mean that you're getting what you think you're getting.
And honestly, I think that's what they're trying to get you to react to. As soon as FDA is used in a sentence, as soon as it's on the box, whatever it might be, then the general public looks at that and says, oh, this must work because I see the word FDA on it.
Yeah, that's right.
FDA on
yeah.
it.
So let's go through that. So mucositis, pain, skin, hair, that's one tier. Testosterone and longevity, totally different, much weaker tier. It's not one treatment. It's a delivery method being tried 100 different ways. Not all of them work. So just remember, just because FDA has cleared it for some things doesn't mean that everything that you are being sold for red light works.
Well, and we see that in facial plastics with the lasers that we use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So you have your neodymium YAG laser isn't going to work or do the same things as your erbium laser is going to do, or your intense pulse light is going to do. You have to use, and even within those particular laser wavelengths, there are different fluences that you can apply and whatnot to change exactly what that particular laser is doing for your skin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that from our settings, how long the light is actually on for, how long it relaxes for, how long you're allowed to let heat dissipate. These are all things that turn it into an art form, right?
And that brings the next claim: more light, better results.
Yeah, and backwards past a point, right? Biphasic again. More is not better. Just to be very clear about that.
Okay, next one. All these devices are basically the same.
Not close. Wavelength, power, LED quality, distance, they're all different. What worked in a study doesn't transfer to whatever mask is on sale this week. Remember, we talk about this in many episodes. The last episode, we talked about extrapolating beyond your data. Just because you have data in a certain area doesn't mean that you can extrapolate outside that data.
Right. Next claim, it reverses aging.
It can make skin look better, right? Which can give you the appearance that you're reversed aging. Texture, some collagen markers. That's not turning back your biological age, though. Two different sentences people keep gluing together as well. So we got to be careful with that. It's not really turning back aging, but it does make you look better.
Yeah, and that should be really, quite frankly, the disclaimer on every one of these boxes.
I agree. Testosterone, weakest claim on the whole list. If a guy's exhausted with no libido, he needs blood work and a real doctor, not a lamp pointed at his lap.
Okay, last one. It's natural, so there's no risk.
Generally, low risk used as directed. Dermatology is fine with that much. But low risk isn't no risk, especially around the eyes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that if you shine it directly into your eyes, you theoretically could, although it's not ultraviolet light, you theoretically could damage the retina. I'm not sure of that, but I would think that could theoretically be a risk.
Yeah.
So the honest version always sounds smaller than the hype, right?
Yeah, because hype sells, right? And this is a business, and this is every single time. Real medicine sounds narrow. Hype sounds like it cures everything, because who wouldn't want that snake oil?
Exactly. So tell the people what makes you buy it.
When it claims to fix a dozen unrelated things at once, FDA approved with no condition attached, testosterone, dementia, longevity promises, no wavelength listed anywhere, no
That's
dose.
a big one.
Unlimited sessions, before and afters where the lighting mysteriously improved, an influencer's face standing in for a study. These things make me kind of back away.
So what would you look for to tell you that it's real, that you should actually consider buying it?
One condition, right? Specific wavelength. When they're more specific about it, actual human trials, right? Claims boring enough to be believable. It's kind of our Kentucky windage. Clear specs, clear safety instructions, somebody willing to tell you which uses are proven and which one are still experimental.
Yeah, so kind of under promise and over perform, right?
Yeah,
the trustworthy
always.
version is the one that undersells itself.
The honest one sounds narrow. The hype sounds like a miracle.
If this gave you a better question than the one you walked in with, that's really the whole point. Do three things. Number one, tune in, because we do this every week. Number two, subscribe, so you never have to come looking for us. Send this to one person, a friend, a colleague, who'd be sharper for having heard it. The last one matters the most. We don't run ads, and we don't chase clicks. This show grows one referral at a time from people who trust the person who sent it. That's you.
So where does that leave us? Red light isn't fake. real science, real clinical uses, real evidence behind specific things.
But real science still gets stretched way past what it proved. Being curious about it was never the problem. Treating a lamp like a cure-all, that is. Ask what condition, what device, what dose, what evidence, and compare to what else you could be doing instead. Answer those, and you're back in medicine, not marketing. For Vital Discourse, I'm Dr. Lee Mandel.
And I'm Dr. Ben Salento. Everything's at vitaldiscourse.com. See you next time.